Newcastle United beat Qarabağ 3-2 last night thanks to goals from Sandro Tonali, Joelinton and Sven Botman to win 9-3 on aggregate and qualify for the last 16 of the Champions League for the first time. It's another record achieved by Eddie Howe, taking us further than any other manager in our history in this competition, and that just adds to his ever impressive and ever growing CV as manager of our club. He also becomes the first English manager to win 6 games in the competition, overtaking the late great Sir Bobby Robson. So I hope you're all well, everyone. Welcome back to the Magnificent Mags channel. I hope everyone is having a good week. It is Wednesday afternoon. Firstly, I just want to say a massive thank you again to my subscribers and a massive reaction to my last video. It's overwhelming when I see all the likes and comments. It's always appreciated. Thank you so much. And especially I've got another 7 subscribers up to 509. So thank you. Thank you for listening to my call to like, comment and subscribe. And I will do that again. And as I said, to help small channels out like this, if you swipe right on the comments box underneath the video, you will be able to hit that hype button. So yes, Newcastle are into the last 16, and on Friday, even though it won't start at 11 AM because they always drag these things out, there'll be the draw for the last 16, and we'll find out if we face Barcelona or Chelsea. That's mouth-watering. Obviously, in terms of more European glamour, would like Barcelona, but Chelsea's closer, and it means less travelling and probably a more winnable tie. Playing them up here first and then going to Stamford Bridge rather than going to the new camp. But we'll wait and see. But last night, first of all, it was such a commanding 6-1 lead over in Baku. And last night, it was basically a formality. It was a case of start with intensity, try and get a few goals, kill the game off, rest key legs, bring on those who need minutes, who haven't played recently, and then avoid injury. And that's exactly what Newcastle United done. They got the tie over and done with, and the game itself within the first 6 minutes, thanks to those goals from Sandro Tonali and Joelinton. But Eddie Howe had a difficult balancing act, because I feel last night, the big question pre-match, obviously it was all done as a contest. It was just a case of who does he rest, who does he play? Because you want to give the minutes to the likes of Leo Shahar, Alex Murphy and maybe Sean Neve. In the end, he only started Alex Murphy at left back and then he ended the game at centre back. I think he had a reasonably good game. I'm not gonna be harsh on him. Yes, so he struggled a little bit when he moved alongside Dan Burn at centre half, but look, it was his full debut in the Irish lad. He's only 21. He put in a very good performance for his first start in place of Lewis Hall. So delighted for him. Obviously, Leo Shahar came on at the end for a few minutes. We didn't see Sean Neve. Instead, he started Will Asula, who did not impress. But yeah, it was a balancing act. It's a case of, do you give minutes to players who need it, like Sven Botman, who's obviously just returned from injury and he wasn't risked at Manchester City? I think that was the right call. And also, can you keep the momentum and the rhythm, as Eddie Howe talked about a lot, into players like Anthony Gordon? He did come on in the second half and obviously he wanted to get some goals, even though he could have been rested for Everton. But he never really plays well against Everton. I hope he finally does this weekend, because he never turns up against Merseyside clubs. But yeah, it was like, do you keep playing him for rhythm and then he can try and like get more goals to close the gap on first place Kylian Mbappe? What company that is to be in, by the way, in the top scorers charts. But then you also had the balancing act of, we've got injuries and they seem to be condensed into the defensive area. So it's like, you can bring Sven Botman back in, but then you couldn't rest the likes of Dan Burn because Malik Chow was suspended. And then Kieran Trippier, I was surprised to see him start. I said in my predicted lineup, a few people have said, why Murphy right back? Well, I'm like, well, Livermento's still out for another few weeks and then he'll have to get up to speed. Leo Shahar, he hasn't really played him, so I didn't think he would trust him until it was late on in the game, as was evidenced last night. So I just thought, well, if you need to rest Trippier, and we haven't got Malik Chow, who's right-footed and pacey, you'd stick Jacob Murphy at right back. He's played there before. But yeah, Kieran Trippier started. Those choices are really necessitated by the injuries in defence. And then obviously we're going to midfield and we saw Joelinton return and he was my man of the match. He was excellent. Sandro was just behind him. He scored a goal. Yeah, I think he was a little on and off in terms of his passing at times, but he's really grasped the bull by the horns since Bruno's been out injured, and he's really took on that responsibility of being that key midfielder for us. And I felt he played reasonably well last night as well. He got man of the match, but obviously this is all subjective, but I would have given it to Joelinton personally. He was a colossus last night. And then, yeah, we saw Jacob Murphy start, we saw Harvey Barnes start, and we saw Will Asula start. Nearly forgot as well, Aaron Ramsdale started, and he had nothing to do in the first half other than Camilo Duran's shot from the edge of the area. And that was good. He stayed alert, he stayed switched on, and he got two good hands to it to push it over the bar. But let's get on to the goals. Yeah, Sandro Tonali was on the left-hand side of the pitch. A massive gap opened up from Qarabağ's players. He accepted the invitation, drove through them, released it last second just to Voltemora. Voltemora, first time to Dan Burn. His shot was blocked, but then it came on the left to Harvey Barnes. Lovely ball in. Will Asula trying to take his opportunity last night, but he massively failed. He was awful, let's admit it. Should have scored that, but then Sandro Tonali, following his run in, hit it into the ground and over Kachalski. And then it was 2-0, only 90 seconds later. It showed you the bit was between our teeth. We wanted to get the game killed off on the night. And it was Joelinton who scored it. We pressed them really well, again, in front of the Milburn. Won it back, Voltemora played in Barnes on the left-hand side of the box. And he put another lovely cross in, and there was Joelinton running onto it and volleyed it straight past Kachalski into the back of the net. And after that, you think, could it be a cricket score? You don't know. Can we get our biggest ever aggregate win, which is still 10-2 over Antwerp back in 94-5? But no, we eased off. It was like job was done. In the first half, really, the rest of the half was a non-event. Nothing happened. We were chatting loads with each other in the corner because nothing much was happening other than, like I said, Camilo Duran's shot that Ramsdale palmed over the bar. But yeah, we went in happy at half-time, 2-0 up, and it was 8-1 on aggregate, and then you just thought, can we keep it up the second half, or will we ease off a bit? Will it be the same intensity, or will we try and conserve legs? And it was the latter. The players come out, and I don't know if it was a mix of complacency, but that was more subconsciously. I don't think they were deliberately doing it. And more game management, conserving legs, conserve energy, don't pick up any unwanted, unnecessary injuries, and then just see if we can control the game and then just see it through to full time, make subs, bring legs on who need the minutes. But yeah, Qarabağ took that as an invitation to not lie down, and fair play to them and their 300 fans. We went out for a couple of drinks after in the big market. We went to Hooters. We tried to go in Filthy's, one of our favourite bars, but we weren't allowed in. They were saying, no, it's too quiet, we're closing. So we went in Hooters and saw a few of their fans, but unlike the athletic club fans, they were a little more subdued. They weren't chatty at all, so we just left them be. Their fans, fair play to them, being 6-1 down. I know you probably want to tick off a stadium, you're still getting a away day to England, but 300 fans to travel over here, it's 6-1 down. I'll never knock away fans. Look, I know there might be tickets returned, mightn't travel in lots of numbers at times, but anyone who can make the effort to pay the ticket money and then travel, especially from abroad, and come to a game that's basically a dead rubber, I'll not knock fans for that. They've travelled to see their team miles when they don't have to, so fair play to them. But Newcastle eased off. Qarabağ sensed an opportunity to get a goal, and fair play to them. They pulled one back. Johnny Montiel won a flick on, went through to Camilo Duran, and he finished cleverly. A nice tidy finish into the bottom corner past Aaron Ramsdale to make it 2-1 on the night, 8-2 on aggregate. But I've got to say, by the way, the whole cheering their goal when they scored, like, do you think that would have made them feel any better? I feel that's rather disrespectful, like cheering an away team's goal. Look, I know we were so far ahead on aggregate at this point. It was 8-1, and then they scored and it was 8-2. But cheering their goal, that's just weird. I didn't hear it in the corner, but I was just looking around going, what's that about? I mean, I just feel that's patronising. It's really disrespectful. So I wouldn't like to see that again. So don't let that become a thing, please. Well, we responded straight away. We got a corner. Kieran Trippier hit it right into the box. Lovely dip and cross, and Sven Botman used the pace of the ball to direct it past Kachalski. Immediate response, 9-2 up on aggregate, 3-1 up on the night. But you know what? That still wasn't it. They got onto the right-hand side of the area. It was played to Pedro Bacalio. His low cross, Dan Burn slid in to try and block it. And look, in the Champions League in Europe, you're always going to get a pen given against you for that. I've looked at it back and his arm's like this, so it was a pen. Jankovic stepped up, but Aaron Ramsdale saved well to his left, but then when he saved it to his left, it came back across him, and then it fell to, I think you pronounce it Kafarkuliev, but he was quickest to react. And despite Jacob Murphy and Aaron Ramsdale's despairing lunge and dive, went back in. And fair play to them. They didn't lie down. They give their travelling fans something to cheer about. And yeah, fair play to them. But the fact that they've scored 3 goals against it, they beat Copenhagen 2-0, they beat Frankfurt 3-2, Benfica away 3-2, and they drew with Chelsea. So fair play to them. It's the furthest an Azerbaijani team's ever got, but now that's the furthest we've ever got. And rest of the game, other than Harvey Barnes' chance against Kachalski when he cut inside and it was parried out low for a corner, the rest of the second half, it was basically, let's just say, we kept checking the watches to see how long was left because it turned into a training exercise. Made the subs, brought Gordon on, and understand, like I said at the start of this video, from trying to get more goals to catch Mbappe. I didn't get bringing Lewis Hall on because he's so key to it. He's such a great player. And bar one misplaced pass, he didn't do anything wrong. But I wouldn't have risked Lewis Hall, but look, it's Eddie Howe's choice. Will Asula, unfortunately, he didn't impress. He really didn't. It was his chance to grasp his opportunity, show that he deserves to play at Champions League level, even though I don't think he does. I think he is like maybe a lower half Premier League, top half Championship player. But yeah, he was awful last night, I have to admit. Harvey Barnes was involved. Like I said, he was involved in the build-up to the first goal. He got an assist for the second goal for Joelinton. You've got to say Jacob Murphy played all right. Voltemara, a lovely little turn and pass through to Murphy, dragged it wide, and then he was pretty steady. Then he was moved to right back when Trippier went off, and yeah, he didn't put a foot wrong, to be honest. Nothing spectacular, but he got the job done on his 251st appearance, and it was great to see him being given the armband. Tonali, like I said, he was a little inconsistent with his passing at times, but he was still one of our best players. He dominated the midfield. Joelinton was a colossus again. He bossed them. Lovely finish on the volley from Barnes' cross. And yeah, Alex Murphy was steady. Like I said, he struggled a little bit when he moved to centre-back alongside Byrne, but I'm not knocking the lad. That's great for him. I saw the interview after with Gabby Logan where he said his family couldn't get over because he was only told yesterday morning, but his barber was there. So, yeah, but he got the trim out. Well, that's where I went yesterday. I got a trim. I wasn't going to drink yesterday, but I was like, oh, you know what? It's like 13 degrees. It's like a tropical summer in Newcastle at that temperature. And I was like, well, in a good mood. I had a productive day at work. I got my hair cut. I was like, why not? Come on. But yes, Sven Botman and Dan Burn, look, it wasn't their best games. Sven Botman's right centre-back first half, and then he's passing. He was trying too many fancy passes when it was unnecessary. Just keep it simple. He was better second half when he was moved to left centre-back, and he done a bit better, let's just say. But first half, his passing was a bit poor. But yeah, he got his goal. Dan Burn, again, he was all right in the first half. Second half, he had a disaster. Obviously, he got outpaced for the goal, the first goal for Qarabağ, and then he gave away the penalty with a handball for the second. Bit like Aaron Ramsdale, he could say he didn't do much wrong last night. He didn't, in fact. Like, he stayed alert for the shot which he tipped over the bar, but then it was quiet, and then suddenly in that 10-minute spell, he's conceded a goal, and then he's saved a penalty, but then conceded the rebound. So, bit of a mad night for him. Trippier, steady night, didn't put a foot wrong, and then obviously he got subbed off. Beautiful cross. We know his delivery's excellent for Sven Botman's goal. Shahar come on, got a few minutes at the end, so yeah, not a bad night overall. It's job done. We're into the last 16, and Friday's draw, we'll see we're pitted against Barça or Chelsea, so that's really exciting. But you just have to say the professionalism and ruthlessness in the first leg, it already killed his tie off, and last night, as I said, it was just a case of getting through that game, killing the game as a contest early on, conserving legs, giving minutes to those who needed it, taking others off early to rest them, and then not getting any injuries, and everything like that happened. So yeah, we now move on to the weekend. After the draw, we'll play Everton up here. A little bit of a vengeance is due against them because they beat one on the final day of last season up here. So we need to try and translate our European form back into the league and try and get back up at that league table, because I do think Champions League is out of our reach now, but I still think there's a chance with Man U coming up and still Chelsea to play away. It is a chance where we can still maybe get Europa League, but we've obviously still got two avenues. Even though we won't win it, the Champions League, we can still qualify that way, but that's very unlikely, where we can meet the likes of still like Man City or Barcelona, obviously in the next round. Bayern Munich we could meet in the semi-finals, so that's a tougher route. I still feel FA Cup tie is winnable with it being up here against City. Pep wasn't happy with that after last weekend. So yeah, that's a route again into the Europa League if we win that. So yeah, there's still lots to play for, and we didn't pick up any injuries. And then got to say, we're getting Tino Livramento back soon. We've still got to go for another probably 6 to 8 weeks without Bruno. We'll have Miley back soon. That's 4 wins out of 5. Obviously 3 of those away from home. The only poor notes last night, I could say, with Dan Burn and Sven Botman with their passing. Sula didn't take his chance. Wissa, when he came on, made the wrong decisions. When he was like bearing down on goal, he was like passing it behind. So his running just looks off as he's even still fit. And Voltemara, a few nice touches and that, but well, that left centre midfield rules worked against Villa and Spurs. It didn't last night, so I think it can work, but it depends on the opposition. But unfortunately, Voltemara didn't really affect the game last night. He was a bit of a passenger. But look, the job's done, so got to be happy. But that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. As I said at the outset of this video, I'm so happy my subscribers are climbing. So if you have liked this video, please do the same again. Please like, share and subscribe. And to help the channel out, please swipe right on the comment section underneath the video and hit that hype button. And if you want to discuss anything about yesterday's result, who you think we might get in the last 16, what do you think about the team last night, and who do you think should start against Everton, please go into the comment section. I'll respond to as many as possible. But I will be back with my next video when we play Everton at the weekend. So for now, take care everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe. Bye-bye.